like it. I like Spunk.
The yellow one?
I like Spunk.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, let's get this meeting started. We have 11 resolutions, 1 consent, 1 ordinance to be voted on, and 1 introduction at a public hearing at 5:55. Resolution 2526-14, adopting the minutes from the last common council meeting. Resolution 2526-15, resolution amending the 2024, 2025, and 2025, 2026 police budgets of the Warren Commons. You want to talk about it?
Talk about what? What number you want? You want that fast?
Yeah.
Flying today. It's the
14
police
done?
budget.
115,
15?
resolution amending the police budget.
Oh, that's fine, unless, Chief, you want to say something about this?
Yes, just doing an audit of last year's budget. We had about approximately $14,000 in a law enforcement technology grant left over. That money is still available to us. We can still spend it. And then I budgeted up with the state, let them know as we're spending it. So we just have to move it from last year to this year. So it's available.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Irene or Chief? 2526-16, resolution budget amendment, fire department allowance, Alderwoman Collins.
Chief, you want to speak on this, or Louise?
Sure, it's a contractual benefit the firemen get for $10 of meal allowance for every 4 hours, but it makes it almost impossible to predict beforehand. Historically, we've always taken it and it's been lumped in with the overtime line. Budgetary consideration, or for budgetary reasons, Louise wants to separate that out. So we're just amending last year's budget to separate out what we kept track of and say that that's what it was used for, to be more accurate.
We'll do the same thing at year end this year.
Okay.
I think it's a smart thing to have it separated anyway. Any questions? Resolution 2526-17, resolution 2024-25 budget transfer, capital fund check recovery cost, Alderwoman Collins.
Okay, Louise.
This is not a new matter. This was, this pertains to a fraudulent check that was presented for payment back in August. We recouped, the bank was able to recoup the majority of the money. There was a fee that we had to absorb, and we just never took action to cover that fee. So this is just sort of like some year-end cleanup. And the check was originally
59.
drawn from our capital fund account, so we have to move it from general to capital fund.
And Louise, you're now satisfied that we have the protections in place? I know you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We made a lot of, we had 2 attempts with fraudulent checks back last summer, and we've made a lot of changes to the security features on our bank account. I do not feel like something like this would happen again.
So all
Never
our,
say never, but I feel like there's a strong likelihood it would not.
so all our accounts now are covered.
Yes.
Any questions? Resolution 2526-18, resolution 2025-26 budget transfer, recreation trailer, Alderman Marticello.
This is a trailer I use in recreation department to haul equipment for our lawnmowers and whatever. And the one that we had before just broke down. It broke down. So we need a brand new one, so that's what we did.
Any questions? Resolution 2526-19, resolution transferring of funds, emergency water work for Henrietta Boulevard, Alderman Marticello.
Well, as you know, there's been water breaks all over the city. So the city water distribution system, we need valves on Henrietta Boulevard back in September of 2024. And what we did is, infrastructure is a chief operation, which says that we just need valve replacements because all the water breaks that we have, when they put a new water line in, they put a new valve in. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, that's correct. Whenever possible, we do that.
So that's what we're doing. We're putting water valve replacement. We're just replacing all these old valves. And I told Phil, maybe we should even buy extra ones at the rate we're going. So this is what this money's for. It's $46,359.
Any questions?
Is this a year-end entry?
What's the question?
Well, it was done in an emergency.
A year-end, like a year-end entry?
Well,
Because
this
you're
is-
taking it from so many places.
One.
Yeah, not necessarily anything to do with year end, it's just, this was done on an emergency basis, and,
It says it's out of 24, 25.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yes, you're right, it's a prior year entry, yes, I thought you meant something else, okay. So it was just, we just never did a resolution and moved money to cover this cost, so
Okay.
we just took it out of lines where, you know, we knew there was excess
Okay.
year end.
Any questions? Resolution 252620, resolution authorizing an agreement with KB Engineering and Architectural PC for design services for Broadway sewer upgrade. Alderman Marticello.
Mike, one comment?
Yeah, sure. So, as you may or may not have heard, the project is underway and certainly in the design stages for an Amazon facility in Town Florida Industrial Park. In speaking with their developer and their engineer a couple of months ago, they had asked me to provide an ability to serve letter. That's a formal letter that says we, as the supplier of water and the receiver of sewage, treater of sewage, can provide those services through the town. I said, yes, we're gonna have the ability to, however, there is one small bottleneck that we would like to see as a betterment at the top of Broadway Hill. There's one, about a 300-foot section of sewer where the line coming from Amazon and the industrial park and BeachNut drops from a 12-inch to an 8-inch. It creates a bottleneck during high flows. They're gonna design an increase to that up to a 12-inch and remove that issue. So what they've done is KB, which is formerly Prime Engineering, is working for Montgomery County and the town on this project, representing them. They provided a design proposal to the developer for Amazon and put money in escrow to cover that design fee, which was given to the city. We have that in hand. We're going to administer the engineering and the construction project because it's our utility. Once the developer has paid for the design, when we go into construction, they'll pay the engineer and inspection fees and the cost of the construction. And we'll administer the contract. So, no cost to the city.
57,000 gallons, a lot of fluid. Any questions for Mike? Resolution 252622, resolution authorizing option agreement with Southern Tier Environment for Living Inc. What's that? We just read 21. Where's 21?
I got the sale of property. in
Or 22.
one
Yeah,
second.
I don't have,
Skip
I don't have 21.
You did, you can go on that.
Okay, thank you. All right, excuse me. 252621, resolution authorizing sale of 174 Division Street and 244 West Main Street. Alderman Marticello.
I thought you wanted this.
You
Go ahead, Mayor.
These were the property disposition actions, recommendations to the council. 174 Division is a vacant lot. Used to be the old Johnson Amendola record store. It was turned into an apartment. We knocked it down. Kitty corner from Bosco's. Bosco's has submitted the winning bid on that. It's going to be another part of their parking lot.
Great.
They need it to be paved. So that is a recommendation from the council. Tony, help me with 244. That's Turo's, right?
Yes.
Turo's gas station previously had been awarded to a bidder. That was the one where we got a state grant to remove tanks, and then as part of the deal, had to pay back half of the amount we got for the property toward the state. That property never closed because of title issues. We finally resolved to put it back up on the market. It was sold with a quitclaim deed. The buyer's attorney just never settled with us, right, Tony? best way of putting it. And so we put it up again and we sold it again. So we're giving the money back to the original buyer. I think that's already happened, Louise.
Yes.
And we sold it for, I think, $500 more than we sold it the first time, I believe. So no harm, no foul. But it's Turo's, and he intends to use it as a small motor mechanic shop, I believe. Right, Tom?
Yes.
Jimmy's gonna move it for you.
Okay.
That's why I said all.
Any questions on that?
Okay. Back to 25-26-22. Resolution authorizing option agreement with Southern Tier Environments for Living and Eagle Street Housing for 399 West Main Street, 36 Carmichael Street, and 52 Carmichael Street. Alderwoman Collins is gonna move it. Do you have anything you want to talk about this one? This
This
where
is
the old-
a exciting development for the city, I believe. Mark Fuller is the president of the DePaul group that built the place on Main Street very successfully. His son is the head of this development company, and they run the same model as DePaul does. And what they want to do is build apartments for workforce and for veterans at 399 West Main, which is the place where we had another development possible. That's where the Bowler Brewery used to be, the one that we knocked down. So it's he came in, made his presentation, his very good presentation about what he wanted to do. He'd like an option on the property so that he can go through the due diligence necessary. If the due diligence goes well, he would like to buy, he's agreed to purchase this property for the amount of money listed. And any
Exciting.
questions?
No, I think it's exciting. It's nice that when the other one backed out, that we have somebody right here to take it over.
Yeah. And again, I've looked into Eagle Star Housing. They've done a lot of similar projects in communities across New York State. They've got a good track record. He comes from a good bloodline. I think it's going to be a really good thing for our city. Hopefully, due diligence goes well, and we get a very much needed housing apartment count. And the nice thing about the project too, 66 instead of 100 apartments, which means it won't be 4 stories high in somebody's backyard. And they want to, that's a huge, huge benefit to the neighborhood. And hopefully it'll go a lot smoother.
Any questions for the mayor on that? Okay. 25-26-23, resolution authorizing lease agreement with the Greater Amsterdam School District for a lease at Barkley Elementary School. I believe this is a renewal.
I got my name on all these tonight.
I do. Jimmy's gonna move it, but Mayor, do you want to speak on this one as well?
Okay. This was we've had a lease at Barkley for what, 50 years or 40 or 50 years?
Yeah, if you want. So the city entered into a 50-year lease agreement back in 1973. A couple years ago, we renewed another 50-year lease. There's been a change in representation for the school district. The attorneys for the school district are of the opinion that both the renewal document and the underlying document from 1973 failed to comply with Education Law Section 403A, which in sum and substance requires that it be not exceed a 10-year period. So they don't want to change anything in substance other than the duration, which we're now just changing to 10 years.
Does this include the football field?
This was the Little Giants football field, wasn't it?
No, this is the playground. This is all the playground.
It includes the football field.
Doesn't matter, doesn't say that.
The important thing here is that everybody understands that the Little Giants organization underwent a lot of difficulty, and there's not going to be a football program this year. This started over the issue of us putting security cameras at that field and not having a lease in force to do that. This is how the whole thing started. And the reason we wanted to put the security cameras there was because of the difficulties Little Giants was having, crowd control and player, et cetera. But what's coming out of this, this out of lemons you make lemonade. There is a program. The school district and the city are working together with a group of citizens to reconstitute a football league in our city. And hopefully it's going to be. Is it too early to announce that, Joe? That we can talk about their relationships?
I'm not sure they have a board fully set up. I think
Okay.
they're still canvas.
But what's coming together as far as the direction of the league is very, very promising. And I think, again, I think out of what's happened will emerge a much, much stronger and better youth football program in our city. So I'm excited about it. And I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. This lease
Mayor,
is
this
great.
agreement here is for just a place, this has nothing to do with the football.
Nothing to do.
Resolution 252624, resolution approving audit, Alderwoman Collins.
That's fine.
Okay, on to the ordinances. Ordinance D of 2025 to be known as Ordinance 4 of 2025, if adopted, to be voted on. We have a public hearing tonight at 5:55 concerning it. Ordinance modifying Amsterdam City Code Section 228-59 scheduled handicap parking zones to add handicap parking space on the east side of Locust Avenue, Alderwoman Quistamars.
Pretty straightforward. We've discussed this about a month ago and also at the last meeting.
Chris, you skipped the consent resolution.
Did I? Wait. Okay, well, we'll go to that in a second. Anybody have any questions for Kelly? Okay, I'll put these in a different order. Oh, thank you. Back to the consent resolution 252625, resolution waiving 30-day advance notice application for liquor license Megabytes LLC, Alderman Marticello.
As you know, this is for, the waiver for her license, and this one includes the indoor and outdoor areas of the new clubhouse that being built. As soon as it opens up, she'll have a liquor license, where she can serve liquor on that area. And what we're doing is an advance notice of application, the liquor license that she's gonna apply.
And I honestly didn't realize how expensive they were. It's like, she said she's got $6,000 invested already. So
Oh, yeah, they're crazy.
quite an endeavor. Moving on to ordinance E of 2025, to be known as ordinance 5 of 2025, if adopted, this is an introduction. An ordinance modifying chapter 156 of the Amsterdam City Code relating to non-resident residential or commercial property owner registration. Pushing this. Louise, do you want to touch on it?
Sure. So I think we're all pretty much in agreement that this ordinance needed some attention. It was confusing as far as who was required to register, what the fees, the penalties were, how the penalties were calculated. So there were few of us that met regularly over the course of a few months to kind of explore different options for administering these registrations and, reviewing the ordinance and making recommendations for changes to streamline this and make it much more simple and easier to understand. So just essentially some of the key changes were who actually has to register. We kind of redefined and made that a little simpler. Essentially anybody who owns the property, if the owner's address is outside of Montgomery County, a non-resident registered agent registration is required. The registration will need to be renewed annually now. Previously, it was a 3-year registration period. We streamlined the penalties and, the penalties for failing to register were tied to the assessment, the assessed value of the property, and that was very complicated. So this is just an attempt to simplify, streamline the ordinance. The second part to this, once we get the ordinance changes approved, there is a third party that we are hoping to engage with to administer these registrations on our behalf. They will do all the outreach. They will manage the site where the registration will all be online. They will manage the site. We will all have access to the data. We will assess the fees on our end for the people that don't register, but it's going to be a much more simplified and understandable process.
Louise, who do they pay you through all this?
It's $50
Yeah,
now,
$50.
and it's going to Muni Rec.
The fees will be paid online at the time of registration, okay, on the
Online?
online, yep. This is what we're proposing.
Okay.
The company that we're hoping to hire, will collect those fees. There's no upfront cost from the city for this firm. They're just going, they'll collect the fee as the people register. So they'll take a portion of that. It hasn't been negotiated yet,
So that's the only cost to the city is
Only
they get a percentage of
yes,
the collected.
right.
It's almost like the system we set up for the ambulance.
Right. Wonderful.
We won't, it's not expected to be like a revenue generating, proposition, the registrations themselves. The revenue for the city comes when people don't register, in the form of the penalties, which we will assess, we will do that internally. But we'll have access to all the data that will show us who has not registered.
They get a percentage, this is a question from the next week. So this company get a percentage of the registration fee, $50?
They'll get, yes, that is how they,
They will get a percentage.
that's our
of it.
compensation for doing this, yes.
Okay.
We don't pay them anything in addition to that.
And that's still to be negotiated.
Right, yes.
If there's a fine, you don't get a percentage of the fine?
No.
Okay, that's the answer, thank you.
No, they actually make it quite clear that they do not want or expect a portion of the penalties because they call that, I forgot what the exact term was, perverse incentive, like they would almost like incentivize them to discourage people from registering because it's more lucrative, the penalty amount, so that is definitely.
Okay, thank you.
So whose revenue line is it? It's still city clerk's revenue line?
No, it's not gonna be handled in the city clerk's office anymore.
So where's the
It'll be
revenue?
the same revenue line, it's the same, our chart of accounts, so it'll still go in the same place. It's just, it won't be the clerk's office, depositing funds in that account. It'll come
Right,
from
The
this,
revenue line is what? Under what department?
I mean,
It was under, wasn't it
Should
under
be
the
under-
clerk?
it
But
should-
now it's going under
It should be
finance?
under control of the department.
Okay.
That was always one of the problems.
I like it that it won't seem to stress out any of our departments too much. And then our public safety officers will have access to it when they need it.
I think it seems to me more accountable.
That's one line.
I mean, more people will be required to register as a result of the changes that we're making. But, having too much information, I don't think is gonna be a bad thing. Because ultimately, we wanna make sure that we can always, reach someone when needed, regarding a property. So I think that's just gonna really help us.
And I like that it's every year because relationships change over a course of time. So if they're registering every 3 years, maybe that registered agent doesn't even have anything to do with that person.
You did a good job, Anthony. You want to raise? Very good.
Aggressive.
You have anything you want to add to this?
I barely did anything, so
Okay.
if you think of me.
She hit all the high points, like I said, we are changing it from the $30 registration fee that more people were exempt from before to a $50 registration fee that we're making them renew annually. So if you're gonna get any pushback, I think that's where it's gonna go.
Nice job.
So we'd like to schedule a public hearing for August 19th at 5:45. Everybody good with that? Sure. Okay. Any questions at all?
Could it be 5:55? It's usually when we're.
Well, we figured 15 minutes just in case that there's a lot of people that showed up and we change time. What do you think, Mike? Is that enough time?
5:15, I don't think anybody's.
5:50?
No, I don't care, either way. If it's 5:15 and nobody shows up, we stop.
5:45.
Okay.
So 15 minutes to talk about it.
I think it's important to mention that these have been
Right.
on hold for about a year now. It's been a year since we've actually been requiring it, and we're reaching out and requiring any new registration. So we're very anxious to get this back in motion.
Couple of house things, golf commission,
No, it's time for a public hearing.
I'm sorry,
It's time for a public hearing.
excuse me, 5:55, okay.
Public hearing at
Public hearing at
5:55 on the ordinance this is on the handicap sign ordinance.
Yes.
Public hearing is now open. If anyone in the public would like to speak. Okay, no one's here. Public hearing is now closed. And we can move on. We have 5 minutes to go. We could start with the engineering report. Michael, if you'd like.
Thank you, Mayor. If everyone has not met our assistant engineer, Alyssa Danforth, this is Alyssa. I don't know if everybody's met her or not yet, but been here since the beginning of the year, and future of Amsterdam for engineering, as far as I'm concerned. So you have my report, but what I'd really hope to talk about tonight quickly is the alternates on the street paving program for this year. I've laid it out. It's on the large 11 by 17 sheet. I will admit it was a little confusing. I'll try and simplify it. So the big table with the colors at the bottom were, it may not be all-inclusive, but that is the a list of the alternates that we have discussed off and on since the beginning of this year. I took those alternates and put them in what I saw in terms of the greatest need. And so we estimated them using actual the unit prices for the project for our paving contractor. So having done that, I have pretty good confidence in the numbers. If you look at the top, at the very top of the page, I've got PC Guy Park, Garfield, Perkins, Lark, Swan, Front. Locust is not in the CHIPS program. Locust I just added yesterday due to a major water break on our 14-inch low service line that lifted a lot of pavement. Nevertheless, it's got to be resurfaced. So I'm including in that because it's going to be done as part of the work of the contract, just funded differently. If you recall, the lower part of Market Street, Prospect to Van Dyke, our base, that's our base bid project. That is estimated at 1.35 million, leaving us about 900,000 remaining. So I estimated, we estimated the streets on the top, and then, and which you'll see in the first box, we have the estimated cost almost all the way to the right for those 6 or 7 streets. And then I asked the question, you know, I've heard a little bit of discussion back and forth. What about the rest of Market Street? So I took a look at the cost for doing the remainder of Market from Van Dyke all the way to the city line, roughly $267,000. But also realize that would forego a lot of the smaller streets in the different wards that also need it. We certainly have no shortage of streets that need to be paving, that we need to pave even after spending a couple million a year for several years now. So I looked at, if you look at the third box down, the third table down, so if you consider the top box to be a list of alternates that we would do, the second or the third box are kind of options to those alternates to really complicate matters.
Mike, I'm gonna hold you up for
Sure.
this. I'll call the meeting in order and then we'll continue.
The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderwoman Quist Morris.
Here.
Alderman Holliday.
Here.
Alderwoman Collins.
Here.
Alderman Marticello.
Here.
Alderman Carpenter.
Here. Motion to adopt the agenda. 11 resolutions, one consent resolution, one ordinance to be voted on, and one ordinance of introduction. Call the roll.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins. Alderman Marticello.
Okay, why don't we let Mike finish his report, if you don't mind?
Thank you. So if you look at the second and third table now from the top, either upper part of Market Street or 5 smaller streets, Laura, Meckle, Lily, 30th Ave, Major Lane. Those are the estimated costs on either one of those, either Market or the other 5 small streets are pretty much the same. I can make a case for any one of them. They all certainly need paving. But I wanted to get this out in front of you now that we have solid numbers for the rest of this project and hopefully get some feedback on what the council would like to see. There's no, the problem, of course, is there is never enough CHIPS funding to do everything we possibly know. So as every year we wind up with a rolling list of alternates, we cross off as many as we can, and the ones that remain on the list become, the front runners, the first team for the following year. But I would appreciate some input because there's a number of different ways we could approach this.
I think the council made a great decision to decide to lower Market Street. I think that's a key. We couldn't get it done any other way. We had talked about DOT's response to our request. But this is a decision that, you guys should consider. Do we do Upper Market? That is not in bad condition. But it makes sense, to do the whole thing. Or do we, the Brown Streets that Mike's listed here, all in, Alicia and Mike have gone through the city and looked at these streets. So they can sure use it.
I think Market Street is atrocious and needs a lot of priority there.
What part is
Lower Market.
what part is Upper Market Street?
I'm just
Van
calling
Dyke
it from Van Dyke to the city line.
Van Dyke, north?
Van Dyke to the city line.
That's not bad.
Which it's not bad. There's a couple of
It's not
potholes,
great.
but it's not clearly as bad
So that's the
as
issue. Do
Lower
we-
Market Street.
That's right.
I would do the lower part.
Well, that is the base bid.
Let's do that.
That's
I mean,
why it's on
my
there.
opinion. I think that
I know.
definitely has to be done.
That is
We're waiting now,
done.
we're talking now about how do we spend the rest of the money? Do we do
No.
Upper Market as
If
well?
they
Or do
broke,
we
don't fix
go
it.
ahead and do more streets down below? And,
Alderman Marticello, you said that the East End had been kind of put down. So is there anything on here that you'd like to see from the East End?
Thank you, Alderwoman.
You're welcome. I'm a team player.
Well, there are a lot, they're all highlighted right here.
That would be like what, Swan and
Yes.
Or
Only
Lord
because
Swan
better-
in front.
Major's not yours,
and the other
correct?
streets that aren't.
Yeah, but like
Klein,
all of these seem to be over by
Veterans
Guy Park,
Apartments, that's why. But all one, because of the Veterans Apartments and all the,
right,
Talon, they put all those gas lines in.
right. So
Yeah,
next
okay.
year we'll be doing East
Maybe
Main
more.
itself. But I didn't know if there were some side streets over there that might be.
Well, I also received confirmation again
Those are the
today
ones.
from DOT in another conversation we had that East Main is on track to be repaved from where Route 5 meets it all the way, the new Route 5, all the way to the city line east. So
Next year, right?
in 26, yes.
And the two streets that aren't, I'm speaking to the engineers this afternoon, the pipelines were replaced and they did a much better job, right? Repaving.
They did, and a lot of the streets, they paved half the street because of the amount of damage they had to do to begin with. But we ignored, not ignored, we put on hold several of the streets south of
Right.
East Main for a couple of years because of that gas work.
Right.
That's why if you look at that the top table, Lord Swan and that cross street at the end that doesn't really have a street sign, but it's Front Street. Those absolutely need to be done, in my opinion, this year. They're shredded. I know there's many more.
I have no problem doing Lower Market Street, because that definitely needs it.
Yeah.
I mean, There's no doubt.
We're already out under construction on that now.
It has to be done.
It's
Personally,
terrible.
So is the consensus that, that we ignore upper market, ignore that, and when I say ignore it, not do it, and go to the brown streets that Michael's got marked here? Is that okay with everybody?
What's the yellow streets?
The yellow streets are in already.
Oh, yeah.
The yellow streets, right, Mike?
I'm,
Yeah, the yellow streets, if you look at the table at the bottom,
Okay, the first chart is a definite,
correct.
that I missed,
It'd be the first and third box.
in addition to Market Street base.
Right.
I'm all for that.
Okay,
I'm all for that as well.
that.
I missed that first part, but yeah,
Okay,
Okay, Mike?
that's it. That's good.
okay.
Thank you.
Mike, do you have anything else you want to talk about as far as the?
Briefly, yeah, I mean, this was the main topic for this evening, but as you know,
Like I did see Alyssa at the golf course up yesterday.
she's there every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
Very good.
Alyssa served, one of the things that she does is on these projects, she's our point person. She's in the field on a regular basis at the golf course clubhouse, at the Southside Boardwalk. And it's really gonna be our point person with the paving program too. When it gets really busy, we'll have to, my other staff will have to pitch in, myself included. But the clubhouse project is, anybody that's been there can tell that they're working like ants and is one on top of the other, and we're getting close. Southside Boardwalk, I don't know if anybody's looked at that, but pile driving's underway. It's really taking shape, and they're on track to complete that, by the beginning of November. And the rest of the.
So Mike, I'm sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you. So with those pylons, it's very reminiscent of an actual boardwalk from.
That's what it's intended to look like. That's
So
exactly.
so it's all open underneath. So it's just out of curiosity, is there any chain link or anything that going up that to stop people from going under it and hanging out in there? And
It's not, I don't believe it's part of the contract. I think it's something that we've
It was
discussed.
discussed.
Yes, we have discussed it.
like a black vinyl chain link or something where you couldn't see it, it wouldn't change the aesthetics, but it would stop people from going under it and.
It was
On the other
discussed.
hand, you can see out there right now.
Yeah. I was just curious because I saw it's like.
There is also, as part of the project, there is lighting the full length of it.
Mhm.
So it's not as if it's a dark area that's,
Yeah.
out of the public eye.
Yeah, but it has been discussed. We didn't decide to add it, right? I mean,
I don't believe
it's
we
not part of
added
the contract.
any screening or
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, we can always, if something does arise, we can always discuss it
Okay.
at that time.
Anything else, Mike?
No, unless anyone has any questions.
I do just want to mention that there is going to be a major expenditure, right, Mike, at the water filtration plant, the HVAC system has to be replaced. So that's coming down the pipe. Got quotes for it and figured out a plan on how to pay for it, but that will be coming down the pike. It's a $140,000 expenditure. Okay. Then next up, we have proclamations. I don't believe there are any, right, Stace? And communications and presentations. Don't have anything. So we're on to public participation. We're skipping right through here. We already did the engineering report. I do want to, we don't have the controller on here, but I did want to ask the controller about the foreclosure, the status of the foreclosure.
Yes, it's a hot topic right now. The redemption deadline is Thursday. So as you're all aware, the redemption period was extended from 3 months to 6 months with the legislative changes that were made. So we're down to, I believe, 115 properties. I mean, there've been a lot of activity in the last couple of weeks. A lot of people have been coming in to redeem the properties. We're at about 115. Codes and the chief here are going to be going through the lists, pulling out any properties that we don't want to foreclose on for a variety of different reasons. And we should be moving forward within the next few weeks.
There's gonna be a online auction or it's gonna be a public auction?
I'm assuming it's online.
I think he does it online and, but that was during COVID, maybe he doesn't, I know. Okay, thank you, Louise. Any other questions for the controller? Any old business? So we're on to new business, the resolutions.
Resolution 2526-14, resolution adopting minutes from last common council meeting by Alderman Carpenter.
So moved. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Resolution 2526-15, resolution amending 2024-25 and 2025-26 police budgets by Alderwoman Collins. Whereas the city was awarded a $98,417.49 law enforcement technology grant from New York State OSC Division of Criminal Justice Services to be used to purchase a drone, radar signs, LPR systems, and lighted sidewalks. Whereas the council approved a budget amendment number 2425-11 on July 16, 2024 to add this grant revenue to the 24-25 budget. Whereas $14,939.13 of this tech grant remains unspent as of 6/30/25. So the 24-25 budget needs to be amended to reduce the amount of tech grant revenue recognized in 24-25. Likewise, the 25-26 budget needs to be amended to add the unspent tech revenue so it can be spent in the current fiscal year.
So moved. Any questions? Call the roll.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Resolution 2526-16, resolution budget amendment, fire department allowance by Alderwoman Collins. Whereas meal allowances are currently paid out of the overtime line because the cost is directly associated with overtime. Whereas the total meal allowance expense for 2024-25 was $28,698. The city should separate meal allowance expense from overtime expense at year end to give an accurate representation of the city's expenses.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-17, resolution 2024-25 budget transfer, capital fund check recovery cost by Alderwoman Collins. Whereas in August 2024, a counterfeit check in the amount of $59,741.07 was presented for payment out of the city's capital fund bank account. The check was cashed, however, the bank was able to recover all but $769.86. Whereas,
So moved. Any questions? Call the roll.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-18, resolution 2025-26 budget transfer recreation trailer by Alderman Marticello. Whereas the Recreation Department needs a new utility trailer to replace the one currently in use that is in bad condition and unsafe.
So moved. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-19, resolution transferring of funds, emergency water work Henrietta Boulevard by Alderman Marticello. Whereas the city water distribution system experienced a failure of a pressure reducing valve on Henrietta Boulevard in September of 2024.
Read the last, I'm sorry. Just read the last, therefore.
Now therefore.
Now therefore be it resolved, the controller is authorized to transfer funds from the 24-25 fiscal year budget as follows.
So moved. Any discussion on this? Thank you. Call the roll.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Resolution 2526-20, resolution authorizing an agreement with KB Engineering and Architecture, PC, for design services for Broadway sewer upgrade by Alderman Marticello.
Please read the fourth whereas clause.
Whereas the city has received an escrow payment of $25,440 to cover the cost of engineering design for the Broadway sewer upgrade.
So moved. Any discussion on this? Thank you. Call the roll.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-21, resolution authorizing sale of 174 Division Street and 244 West Main Street by Alderman Marticello. Whereas the city previously advertised for sale of 174 Division Street and 244 West Main Street. And whereas, with regard to 174 Division Street, the city received an offer from David Greco in the amount of $1,000, and the city received an offer from Johanan Ness in the amount of $1,000. And whereas, with regard to 244 West Main Street, the city received an offer from Akhtar Parvez in the amount of $76,100, an offer from Rashankar Ishmael in the amount of $75,500, and an offer from OSYR LLC in the amount of $77,000. And whereas the Property Disposition Committee, having met and having made the following recommendations for sale, 174 Division Street to David Greco in the sum of $1,000, and 244 West Main Street to Akhtar Parvez for the sum of $76,100. Be it hereby resolved
Oh, I'm
that-
sorry. So moved. Is there any discussion? Thank you. Call the roll.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-22, resolution authorizing option agreement with Southern Tier Environments for Living, Inc. and Eagle Star Housing, Inc. for 399 West Main Street, 36 Carmichael Street, and 52 Carmichael Street by Alderwoman Collins. Whereas the city has been approached by developers Southern Tier Environments for Living, Inc. and Eagle Star Housing, Inc. for the prospect of entering into an option agreement for the purchase of sale of 3 adjoining parcels in need of redevelopment, namely 399 West Main Street, 36 Carmichael Street, and 52 Carmichael Street. And whereas the option agreement is for a period of 1 year, which in sum and substance provides the option to purchase said parcels for consideration in the amount of $450,000.
So moved. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-23, resolution authorizing lease agreement with Greater Amsterdam School District for lease at Barkley Elementary School by Alderman Marticello. Whereas in 1973, the city entered into a 50-year lease agreement with the school district for the leasing of property at the Barkley Elementary School for the operation of a playground, with the city having recently renewed said lease agreement.
So moved. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-24, resolution approving audit by Alderwoman Collins.
So moved. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Resolution number 2526-25, consent. Resolution waiving 30-day advance notice application for liquor license, Megabytes Events LLC by Alderman Marticello.
So moved. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
D of 2025 to be known as Ordinance 4 if adopted, to be voted upon. An ordinance modifying Amsterdam City Code Section 228-59, Schedule 25, handicap parking zones to add a handicap parking space on the east side of Locust Avenue by Alderwoman Quistamars. Part 1, legislative intent. The intention of the instant ordinance is to modify Schedule 25 at Section 228-59 of the Amsterdam City Code so as to add a handicap parking space on the east side of Locust Avenue in front of 317 Locust Avenue. The homeowners of 317 Locust Avenue have requested this spot for the pickup and drop-off of any individual with disabilities who resides at this location and is picked up daily by a local agency for services. The purpose is to prevent street congestion and assure safety in a busy street in Amsterdam. Part 2, enactment. Be it enacted by the Common Council of the City of Amsterdam that the following be added and or modified to 25 at Section 228 as set forth below. Add handicap parking space on east side of Locust Avenue in front of 317 Locust Avenue. Section 3, effectiveness. A public hearing having been held on August 5th, 2025, and upon ratification of Common Council, the instant law shall become effective pursuant to C33 of the Charter.
So moved. Any discussion? You can call the roll.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Explaining my vote on this, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to share the backstory and address concerns that were shared with me. A constituent who has lived at this home for decades now has increased cars parked on her block. This causes the Liberty bus that picks up her brother each day to have to double park on a busy street with a curb. She asked for a handicap parking spot in front of her street for safety as the bus is unable to access her driveway. She went to the police department, who directed her to her alderman. I looked at the code and found handicap parking spaces outlined in Chapter 228-59, Schedule 25. I spoke with the chief, the engineer, and the corporation council. Based on that, I proposed a two-step process, first to honor this constituent's need, and second to clarify the code going forward. Based on the feedback of my colleagues, I've proposed that these spaces only be issued to people with valid handicap parking permits outlined by state law, residing at the residence that do not have access to off-street parking. These spots would be subject to alternate parking. I trust that if this is a hardship to another applicant, the police chief, engineer, and council cannot come up with a suitable adjustment at the time. I provided my colleagues with similar codes from neighboring municipalities, the text of our code, and my proposal all in writing a month ago. I've researched the Americans with Disabilities Act, thoroughly reviewing their information on handicap parking space requirements and their guidelines for local governments. In this research, I've found that accessible parking on a city street must have a, quote, accessible aisle at either end, which a curb cutout qualifies as. This would require no modification of parking spots that are near driveways or at the end of blocks. Based on the feedback of my colleagues, I did ask the constituent if a loading zone would be a compromise. She stated reasons that a handicap sign would be preferable, and I see no reason not to honor that. The loading, based on the current code, this home does in fact qualify for a handicap parking space. The loading zone, Chapter 228-55, Schedule 21, does not state any qualifications and could be applied to far more places in Amsterdam than a handicap spot could. If this legislation goes into effect, there might be a spike in applicants for this type of spot. There always is. Not because people are looking to abuse a situation, but because they were unaware of this being an option to them. This happens each time we move a speed sign in the city, and we do our best to be fair. It is currently happening with children at play signs, with one of my constituents requesting one after she saw that another member of this body got one for a different neighborhood. I wouldn't dream of saying no to this constituent because somehow we hit an arbitrary number of children at play signs. As neighborhoods change, we adjust. In my mind, everything is figure-outable. We are here to address the needs of our constituents and help create a community that reflects the city that we want to live in. This is the city that I would like to live in, and with that, I vote yes.
Alderman Holliday,
No.
Alderwoman Collins,
No.
Alderman Carpenter,
No.
Alderman Marticello.
I'm gonna explain my vote. It says here, the purpose is to prevent street congestion and ensure safety in a busy street accident. I can just speak for myself. I drove a handicap bus, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. I drove a handicap bus, and I can tell you this, the compassion that people have for the handicap in a busy street, and they respect the red lights and the yellow lights. I feel, being that I drove a handicap bus, I know exactly the people and how they feel. And they do honor the bus, and they honor the people who are handicapped. So when you put the yellow lights on for caution, you drop the red lights on to stop, you also get out of your bus very carefully. You drop the lever if it's a wheelchair. If not, you have an assistant who will come out and assist that person on the bus for safety. If I didn't do this, I would have to give it serious consent and thought, but I've done this before, so I know exactly what we're talking about here. And when I drove for Brown Bus Transportation, we come across a lot of people who have a lot of needs, disabilities, and I find that right here, the purpose is to prevent street congestion. People understand street congestion, and they honor those red lights, and they honor the people who have disabilities. So therefore, I'm gonna vote no.
Okay, motion is defeated.
Ordinance E of 2025 to be known as ordinance number 5 of 2025 if adopted, introduction. An ordinance modifying chapter 156, the Amsterdam City Code relating to non-resident, residential, or commercial property owner registration by Alderman Carpenter. I'll read what you're asking.
Mr. Casali,
So-
does this need to be ordinance, did the ordinance E and the number need to be changed? How the other one was?
No, I think
You did?
this is the way this would be ordinance E, but I think it would be known as ordinance 4 if adopted ultimately.
So we need to amend it?
So
I don't think you need to amend it because it's not been adopted yet.
It's a numbering system.
It's a numbering system and so far this year, we've ratified 3 ordinances. So whichever the next ordinance that is ratified by this council, that will be 4.
Stacy and I discussed this earlier. She's gonna read part 1, part 2, then skip to 156, 3, 5, and 6, because those are pertaining to specific numbers, instead of reading the entire 2.5 pages.
Part 1, legislative intent. The Common Council has for several months discussed and considered an overhauling of Chapter 156 so as to create a more uniform policy relating to non-resident, residential, or commercial property owner registration, standardizing a filing fee of $50 annual fee for said registrations, and implementing a more standardized penalty for owners in violation of this chapter. 156-3, annual registration required, registration fee. An owner of any residential or commercial property or multifamily residential property who is not a resident of Montgomery County or is not a natural person, example, an LLC, corporation, etc., is required to designate a registered agent who resides in Montgomery County or an adjoining county. An owner self-designate if they live in adjoining county. The relationship of the registered agent to the owner must be disclosed in the registration form. All registered agents must be a natural living person who has attained 18 years of age. Registration fees shall be due by February 1st of each year commencing in 2026. For the year 2025, notices shall be sent by the city for all applicable properties prior to September 1st, 2025, with the registration fee being due by October 31st, 2025. In the event that an owner required to file a registered agent pursuant to this chapter is the owner of more than one parcel, then said owner shall be required to file a separate registered agent form and pay a separate registered agent fee for each parcel. The annual fee shall be $50 per parcel. 156-5, duties of registered agent, penalties for offenses against registered agent. The registered agent shall notify the City of Amsterdam within 15 days of any change of address or telephone number. The registered agent shall accept service of all notices and legal process on behalf of the owner arising from the Uniform Fire and Building Codes and laws of the City of Amsterdam related to the real property in the City of Amsterdam. The registered agent shall contact the owner within 1 day of receipt of any notice or legal process on the owner's behalf. The owner shall file a new registered agent form within 30 days of the termination of the owner's relationship with any existing registered agent. Failure of the registered agent to comply with these duties is punishable by a fine not to exceed $250 or 15 days in jail. 156-6, duties of owner, penalties for offenses against owner. Any owner required to designate a registered agent shall designate such agent within 45 days from taking title to a property requiring such designation. The owner shall pay a fee of $50 upon filing a new registration or a replacement registration. Failing to file the registration form within the time above, or failure to designate a replacement registered agent within 30 days of the notice of cancellation of the current registered agent shall cause a code enforcement fee to be charged to the property owner in the amount of $500, and then an additional $100 for every subsequent month that the registration remains unfiled. Failure to pay these fees within 30 days of the invoice shall cause the charge to become a lien against the associated real property and be levied with the city taxes against the real property. Section 3, effectiveness of public hearing having been held August 19th, 2025, and upon ratification by the Common Council, the instant law shall become effective pursuant C-33 of the Charter. So public hearing will be held on August 19th of 2025 at 5:45 p.m.
If my colleagues could entertain me for a moment. Since my previous ordinance was defeated and everybody expressed their support on the phone for a loading zone, I would like to introduce Ordinance F of 2005 to be known as Ordinance 5. If adopted, you could review that, and I think I would appreciate if it would be added to a public hearing for the 19th.
So if I may.
Can we add this to this meeting? On the agenda?
So section 15-3 of the Amsterdam City Code, strike that, of the charter, I mean, pertains to resolutions, ordinances, and local laws. Subsection 9 says no additional resolutions may be added to the agenda thereafter without 4/5 consent of the members present at the Common Council meeting. For all intents and purposes, I would say to you, I think that the fairest way to do this, looking at what I'm reading, is that there would be a motion to add this to the agenda, and I would say that you would 4 yays for the motion to carry.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to add this to the agenda. Is there any discussion? Can you please call the roll?
She wants to add this to the agenda. It's just a motion to, do we agree to add this to the agenda?
Impromptu introduction.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
No,
So it passes by 4/5 for the introduction then. The agenda's been modified. This is now on the agenda. We need a public hearing, please.
Why don't we do the 19th at 5:55? That'd be 10 minutes for the first one, and then 5 minutes for the last one.
Public hearing will be at what time?
5:45. It's 5:45 for the other one.
Tonight is National Night Out at Veterans Park. Our public safety people will be there in force, demonstrating their expertise to a appreciative community. So I urge you all, if you can, to get out there. This weekend is our Latino Americana Festival down at Riverlink. great Latino food, Spanish food, and great music. It's always a good time. That's this Saturday morning, this Saturday afternoon through the evening at Riverwood Park. I don't have anything else. Does anyone?
Motion to adjourn?
Alderman Carpenter.
Aye.
Alderwoman Quistamars.
Aye.
Alderman Holliday.
Aye.
Alderwoman Collins.
Aye.
Alderman Marticello.
Aye.
Hey, Chief.
What happened today?
You did. You just adjourned.
We're up.